Guys, today is the day we are finally getting the Kooks long tube headers installed on my 2024 Mustang. I am super excited. Been waiting a while for this. I've had them for a few weeks, so I've just been anxious to get them on. I'm not installing them, but I'm having a good shop do it. Really hope the car sounds good because the exhaust setup we're going to be running is I have a Ford Performance Xpipe going to the factory active exhaust mufflers. But we got the car all loaded up with the Kooks long tube headers. I also got the Big Daddy Garage defowlers for the O2 sensor, so hopefully we don't get a check engine light because nobody likes riding around with a check engine light, especially on a brand new car. We're gonna get these installed super early in the morning. Pretty tired, just waiting for my buddy John to pull up with his Supra. He's my ride. It's the next morning. I picked up the S650 last night from the shop and they put on the long tube headers. They're officially on and this thing freaking rips. Like, it is so loud. I'm still not used to it yet, obviously. I mean, I literally just picked it up last night. I did a few pulls last night. It is super loud. Like I said, we just got the headers straight to the Xpipe and then to the active exhaust OEM mufflers. It sounds decent, doesn't sound terrible, but I think we're gonna have to switch something up with the exhaust system. I don't know what yet. I'm gonna do some research. I don't know if you guys can see down there, but there it is, the Kooks long tube headers. And these Kooks headers actually have really good fitment. I know Kooks always has good fitment, and now I can confirm that. I know a lot of header companies actually be touching this AC line right here, but the Kooks headers are not even remotely close to it. Maybe it's in a little different location on the S550s, but I know some buddies that had some other brands of headers and it was touching the AC line, causing false knock and things like that. But so far, no fitment issues, looks good. No rattling, nothing. You guys have watched my review and unboxing of the Kooks long tube headers. If you haven't watched it up here, I did get the Big Daddy Garage O2 sensor, defouler, spacers, whatever you want to talk about. No check engine light, even though we have cats, so we shouldn't have a check engine light anyway. But no check engine light, so far at least. I know sometimes you drive for a little bit and it'll eventually turn on, but I drove probably 30 to 50 miles after the headers installed and kind of beat on it a little bit. No light, so hopefully it stays that way. I'll keep you guys updated. I'm gonna end up doing a little cold start. It's about 10 a.m., so it should be enough for the neighbors to sleep in. That was the first cold start on the S650 with the long tube headers installed. It actually didn't sound too bad. Once the idle dropped down, it was actually bearable, and it was actually not even that loud once the idle dropped. I was only literally after like 30 seconds to a minute after a cold start, so not bad at all. It actually sounded pretty good, I think. Still want a different exhaust setup. But what do you guys think? That was the first cold start on the S650 with the long tube headers installed. Is that your kind of exhaust note, or do you prefer something else? We actually got this awesome package from Extreme Online Store. I'm actually super excited to install it. I'm not installing it in this video. I'm going to do it in the next video because I want to ceramic coat it or PPF it. This thing looks insane and it's going to be a bad addiction starting. Thanks EOS for sending this out. We're going to replace this junky old black hood vent and we're going to replace it with this carbon fiber hood vent. Let me go out in the sunlight for you guys to see this thing. This thing, oh, it's going to be a bad addiction starting really soon here. We already got mirror caps I got to install. Oh my gosh, as soon as that thing hits light, look at that thing. We're going to have to protect it somehow, ceramic coating, PPF, both, because I don't want any rock chips and I don't want it to fade or anything from the sunlight. That thing is insane. It's going to look way better than that black thing. But this is kind of what it's going to look like. I just put it on top, but that thing's going to look crazy. It's going to look insane. Cannot wait till we get that on. Carbon fiber mirror caps and then whatever carbon fiber I got and planned next. I know they make like these in carbon fiber, side skirts in carbon fiber. Oh, this is going to be a bad addiction, but this thing's going to look awesome. Step by step, we'll get the little things done first and then see what the plan is for the rest. All right, guys, fast forward a week later with the long tube headers installed on my S650 Mustang over there, and I'm going to give you guys my overall thoughts. I've wanted to kind of enjoy them for a week and then update you guys in this video. I'm going to be honest, the car is extremely loud and extremely raspy, but that's kind of why I have that exhaust on right now, because right now I just have the active exhaust, the OEM active exhaust with a Ford Performance Xpipe, and as you guys know, the Xpipe is more of the raspier option instead of the H-pipe. The H-pipe's more of a deeper option, but I have a great opportunity with AWE, which if you don't know what AWE is they make exhausts and a bunch of exterior stuff for cars. So I think we're gonna go with their switch path exhaust system. They're known for like a deeper exhaust. They have a H-pipe that goes into resonators, and then if you get the switch path, which keeps your active exhaust, you get the mufflers, and then if you get the track option, there's no mufflers at all. So I think that would be a great addition in eliminating a lot of the rasp that the headers have caused and replacing that Xpipe with a resonated H-pipe. To answer some questions that probably a lot of people have, do I have a check engine light? Does the car feel faster? Any bad experiences with the headers so far? So right now, no check engine light. I actually did get a check engine light, but I put in the Fowlers, whatever you want to call them. But I actually put in the Cats. But the Fowlers do work. It eliminated the check engine light. And does the car feel faster? It does feel faster. The throttle response is a little bit more peppy. Not too much that you'll notice though. The car does pull really hard, a lot harder actually, I felt, than like higher RPMs or if you're during like full throttle. I know a question that I had that I couldn't really find the answer to is how is your air-fuel ratio after the headers? Because regularly stock air-fuel ratio is around 14, so 14 parts air to 1, however that works. So the air-fuel ratio is actually very, very similar. The car's not running lean and the car is not running rich even at full throttle. So at full throttle, I'm looking at about, on the gauge it shows on the car, it shows about 11.5 to 12.5 air-fuel ratio at full throttle. When I'm cruising around town, it's around 14, which is good for that. Highway driving, it's still at 14. So it's at 14 unless you're under full throttle. It's around 11.5 to 12.5. The lower the number, the more rich you're running. The higher the number is more lean you're running. The car's in between good, so it's not running rich and it's not running lean. Do you need a tune for the headers? No, you don't need a tune for the headers. That's why I was talking about the air-fuel ratio. The car is good. It has a good balance of in between right now. No issues with it. So you do not need a tune for the long tube headers. Obviously, if you did get a tune, which you can't, you would get more power out of the long tube headers. I've seen people get around 20 to 30 to 40-ish wheel horsepower after Kooks long tube headers installed on their S650 with no tune whatsoever. I can't give you guys a direct answer on how much horsepower I gained because I never dynoed it before and I haven't dynoed it after. I've never dynoed this car, so I have no idea, but that's just what I've seen from other people. Right now, I'm gonna give you guys a warm startup. I just parked the car like 10 minutes ago, and then I'm gonna give you guys some remote revs. So here we go. Super loud. All right, finally, the idle dropped a little bit. Hopefully that didn't distort the mic. But now we're gonna give you guys some remote revs. The first remote rev is up to 2,000 RPM, and then the second one goes up to 5,000 RPM, which I'm probably gonna have to cover my ears here. All right, 2,000 RPM. Now here's the 5,000 one. Probably get kicked out of the parking garage here. That thing was actually super loud. It actually didn't sound that bad. I don't really mind the rasp too much. Sometimes it just gets annoying like during traffic when you're kind of like when you're around like 3,000 RPM, the car kind of sounds like it's like clapping a little bit. When you're under like watt, full throttle, it actually doesn't sound bad at all. I actually don't mind it. I do want it to be a little bit deeper. Hopefully no cops come up here. Still have some videos and stuff to make. Yeah, super loud, super raspy because of the Xpipe, and then you got the active exhaust. So I'm actually super glad I got the active exhaust because, so you got quiet mode, normal mode, sport, and then track. I always drive it in track, but if you're cruising on the highway, there's actually like no drone at all. You just hear the exhaust because it's loud. There's no drone. You throw it in normal mode, you don't hear the exhaust at all anymore, which is awesome. Cold starts, it's still fairly quiet, but the valves shake a little bit, they rattle, so it sounds kind of like something's rattling in there. If you guys are thinking about getting long tube headers, I think you guys should definitely do it. You can nail down the exhaust note. It sounds really good, gives you added power, and when tuning does become available, you already got the headers installed, just get a tune. You can pick up about 50 wheel horsepower and throw it on some E85, you'll be pushing around 500 wheel. So whenever tunes will come out for this thing. Thing screams, really wakes up the coyote. I definitely recommend you get some long tube headers. It's definitely worth it. If you guys have any questions or comments about the long tube headers on my Mustang or just my Mustang in general, definitely drop them down below. I'll be happy to answer them. Stay tuned for some carbon fiber upgrades on the S650. I showcased them earlier in the video, but stay tuned. We're gonna make a full video, and we got a nice exhaust on the way for the S650. I'm excited for that one too. So make sure you stay tuned and hit the subscribe button and make sure you don't miss another video.